Let's talk about peace, finding peace in the midst of chaos. Nowadays, a lot of us love to escape chaos in the name of protecting our energy, protecting our spiritual realm, like all these buzzwords that sounds cute. But if you really look into how to acquire peace in life, is that life is chaotic. The peace inside you does not come from the outside world, rather, an internal connection between you and Allah, which gives you the resilience to fight the chaos that is around you. I used to think that, well, if I don't involve myself in such argument, if I don't speak up, if I don't engage in the problem that arise, if I make sure everything is peaceful, orderly, and very nicely taken care of, life will just be peaceful and I will get the peace that I need. But I started to understand that peace also means to actively fight for the things that you need, to actively speak up for what you have to speak up for, actively face problems in your life, for actively just facing realities around you. That is what gives you the internal peace. And internal peace doesn't mean it's reflecting the external realities. Your reality can be upside down. Your finances are not straight, your family setup are not straight, your future you don't know about, and your present situation is out of whack. However, the internal peace you have doesn't come from all these external problems. It comes from the reassurance of you having Allah being your source of sustenance, your source of being, and your source of purpose, which gives you the resilience to no longer be afraid of what is around you. And I feel like many of us love to escape problems, especially when we are entering into adulthood. Facing these problems, we think that we are too weak to face them. We always need somebody's approval to do things. We always need somebody's reassurance. But it's not also our fault because we are not well equipped from the beginning on how to face these challenges. We are often expected to just know how to, but many of us don't know how to. But learning that your internal peace comes from merging yourself in your current chaos, whatever chaos you're facing right now, immerse your side. We are shrinking ourselves from the growth that we have to make, and that is something that I've understood recently, that for so long I've shrink myself to not want to fight, to not want to argue, to not want to express myself for the fear of bringing chaos, for the fear of not having the calm and the peace around my environment. But I realize I'm not in control of everything. I don't control other people's behavior. I don't control so many different aspects of my life. However, I get to play inside, and that gave me the reassurance of standing up, no longer feeling afraid to face problem and taking in charge of those problems. And in the end, you get that piece of reassurance that your life might not be set up the perfectly laid out the way you want. However, you got Allah. Allah has your future, and everything you have worked toward till now is not of waste. And if you don't ever get whatever you want from this world, chances are you'll get it in the year after. And I don't think this peace comes from merely giving yourself tons of affirmation or having the mystic manifestational thought or consuming yourself in endless topic of energy shifting. No, this is you truly accepting Allah's qadar, you truly stepping into surrendering state with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it doesn't mean it's gonna be perfect and rosy. Your iman is going to be tested, and that is what I've learned for so long. Iman test is so real in different phases of life. your iman can be at its highest state at a particular state of life. Maybe it's because you haven't faced a challenge, and the next phase your iman can totally be upside down, which means it's not that it's going lower, but you're struggling to keep up with yourself. You're struggling to face your fears. You're struggling to stand up with Allah. You're truly struggling in your practice, and that is a really test that we are underestimating ourselves to be in. And it is better to find you're constantly with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one thing that I used to do is that I used to delay coming back to Allah. Whenever I fall back and coming back to Allah, I feel like I have to be the most purest person to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that has sabotaged me to stay in the state of perpetuated cycle of committing the same sins or the same mistake, the same juggling situation, and never coming back to Allah faster. Because I was thinking that, well, I have to be perfect. I have to make sure that I do this. I have to make sure that I'm well clean to come back to Allah. But I realized that Allah doesn't want me to do that. Allah wants me to come closer and faster to Him. And constantly reading Quran, emphasis on coming back to Allah as fast as you can, but also realizing His punishment is the greatest impact in your iman. We can't just want Allah to forgive us for whatever crime we commit, but we also have to fear Allah on a healthy level of His anger, or of His wrath upon us, or the punishment that we might get if we don't come back to Him faster. But overall, I think escaping the chaos around our environment doesn't reflect the peace inside. However, the peace inside reflects how we are handling our day-to-day challenges, our day-to-day obligation, our day-to-day responsibilities.